Remnant 2, I didn't think I'd like, to be honest with you, because I hate all those fucking Souls games. I fucking hate Souls games. Um, it is definitely a Souls-like game. You die quite often. Um, and when I say quite often, I mean a lot. Uh, Shit. There's 4 different worlds that you get to travel, and it is completely random every time.
Ooh.
You so you never start in the same world twice. I mean, if you do by luck. So you have Warden 13, which is the main area. You have Lonesome, which is urban area where you fight humans and human-like people and rats, huge fucking rats. And I
They
say
always gotta
huge
have rats
rats like
in a Souls game. Always.
no, like human-sized rats.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I stand by my
I
statement.
say my message. That's fair. Um, then you have the labyrinth, which is actually pretty cool to go to. That is one of the maps you will always go to, no matter what. You'll go to all these maps, but the labyrinth is always the second world you'll go to because it follows the story of whatever you need to do. You have Yaisha, which is a forest area. You have these weird ass fucking snakes slash wood people that you have to fight. Um, Root Earth, which is the last world you'll go to, and Innerd, which is kind of like moon based. It looks like the moon, it's barren like the moon, but there's like an environment that has an inhabitable area. So if you go past the map, you are going to die quite quickly because you get poisoned and you die. Don't ask me how many times that happened. um,
I bet quite a few.
yeah, because unfortunately, you get anywhere near it, you start coughing and vomiting, which automatically puts you in an action. And if you're fighting people, then obviously you get wrecked, which is whatever. So those are the worlds. So basically, this is a Souls game that you can shoot. You have guns, swords, and certain abilities depending on your class. Yeah, I said Souls with guns. I said that. Yep, 100%.
That was the most interesting aspect to me. And then you can have swords on top of it. I was like, all
Yes.
right.
So depending on the class you start off as, you depends on what melee weapon you have. Um so you have in the beginning you have medic, you have a challenger, you have handler, and you have gunslinger. Gunslinger, obviously, pretty much self-explanatory. You have the ability to increase your fire rate and your damage for a short period of time. Handler, you get a dog, and he can revive you if you go down. Challenger kinda is a tank, and then obviously medic is pretty much also self-explanatory. Each one of them have skills. You get 3 as you level up. Max level on each one of them is 10. You can get any one of these by doing certain things, like in typical Souls games. They're hidden secret ways to get shit, certain ways people to talk to. Like there's even gear that you have to belly flop in front of a certain NPC 100 times just to get. Yeah, yeah, I said that 100 times. Um,
Is there a
Guns.
patches?
There's there what?
Is there a patches in this game?
Is there a patches? Negative. I didn't see one.
Ah.
That's why I said Soul Like, not Souls. Because all Souls have to have a patches. Anyway,
You're right. You're right.
so it is online. You can play up to 3 people squads. Um, but the downside to the 3 people squads is whoever's world it is, that's pretty much you're doing all his shit for him. You'll get all the gear, but the progression does not count for you. So you're literally doing everything for nothing, kind of, separate. Unless you have all the gear already, then you're doing literally nothing for nothing. You have shotguns, you have ARs, you have technically sniper rifles, but they're kind of like iron sighted. Then you have armor, which is just loads and loads of armor. Rings are probably the worst out of all of them because there's over like 300 different rings that you can get, and you can hold 4, I think, at a time. The
What
items
kind
are
of
pretty
rings?
much useless.
What
Huh?
kind of rings are we talking about? Are we talking like increased damage or
Yes. So some increased
resistant to
damage.
poison or some shit?
Yes. So you each one of them does. Some of them do 2 things. Some of them do 1. Some of them increase your lightning damage or your fire damage or your acid damage. Um, or they just increase your fire rate point blank. And you have amulets that also do the same. You can only wear 1 amulet at a time. Um, then you have your healing things, like in typical Souls games, you only have so many. And they take 100 years to heal you. Um, yeah, they do. Like you literally walk slow, and it heals you. But each heart that you use has different effects. So there's like 20 different hearts. So some of them, when you use them, increase your damage for 10 seconds. Some of them make you um resistant to things for 10 seconds or 5 seconds, whatever the fuck it is. You can level them up to hold more, but I think the max you can hold is like 8. um the combat is actually pretty fun. You fight kind of waves of enemies. They'll be waiting in the worlds, but if you fight so many of them and alert so many of them, you'll have a distinct noise that brings out the elite.
Ooh.
Yeah, you'll hear like a big old a bell toll or something will happen loud enough for you to go, okay, I need to start looking for this dude, because this dude comes out of nowhere and comes and fucks you up. Because he
Is it kind
does.
of
He
what the
fucking
is it kind of like the noise that the predator makes when he's about to wreck some people?
no, no, no. Like it's literally you'll hear a dong, like a dong. Shout out. Um,
Well,
it's very distinct. And they can literally, sometimes the game will glitch, and if you try to back off when you're trying to fight, trying to get distance, it kind of sometimes resets. So you'll be fighting elite after elite after elite because they don't go down easy. You can level up your weapons. You level up your guns. So you have a primary and a secondary. Usually the secondaries are pistols, um, or pistol machine guns is the best way I can describe it. And your long guns, or your
shut up.
ARs, your shotguns, and all that. Um, you can also create your character. So literally, there's millions and millions and millions of ways to build characters. So you can, if once you level up or progress further into the story, you can get another perk and you can dual wield perks. So, like, say I have medic and handler, I can rock both of those and use each one skill for that. Or I can just run one, but you kind of handicapping yourself by doing one. Um, let's say hunter and gunslinger are probably your best DPS because each one of them kind of mesh together to increase your weapon damage for 30 seconds. And you can max out your weapons to level 20. You can max out you can max out everything to level 20. But you can also add certain add-ons to certain weapons. Like some weapons that you find are unique have their own unique abilities. But some of the other weapons, so like they have the typewriter, which is pretty much a Tommy gun that you can find. And it's bare. It's bare. So you can add, say you wanted to add acid bullets to it or fire bullets to it. and it literally you have acid bullets until your cooldown goes down, and and you kill to refresh it. It just doesn't automatically refresh. But you can also level that up too at Ward 13. Um, for story wise, it was actually quite entertaining to see how they introduced the world pretty much as a fucking desolate fucking world that this plant-based anomaly fucking took over the world, killing people, causing people to have infections and dying from said infections. They do have a way to cure it, but if you get too far, it reminded me of fucking Last of Us, how the mold, whatever. This is literally almost the same verbatim thing. They're trying to eliminate the cause of said corruption, and you don't know about that because apparently these dragon stones that you get introduced to later on are gateways to each world, and you use. So if you rest at one of these dragon stones, like typical fucking Souls fashion, all the enemies reset. I fucking when I hit, especially when you're fighting right in the beginning and you have like no guns to do jack and shit. Yeah. Talk about die, or you like sparingly fucking reset the world. Sparingly.
Womp womp womp.
So, but you don't need the dragon stones to level up. You don't need the dragon stones you're literally, the dragon stones are there for traveling, refreshing your ammo and your hearts. That's literally the dragon stones are for. I mean, killing shit drops ammo, so I mean, it is what it is there. Um, the other armor classes you have to find in the world. You have, say, the engineer. That gas I was talking about on the moon area, you literally have to jump into that. You'll die, but you collect the stuff so you don't drop it when you die. So you literally have to jump in the gas, grab it, grab the weapon and the armor there, and then die. They literally data mined this game to find all of the armors, the guns, the rings, everything. That's how, and Remnant 2 wanted it that way. They wanted them to data mine it so they could find everything, which was kind of weird to me because a lot of these game companies, they don't want that. They don't want that at all. They're
Especially
like,
Souls
yeah, that's
games.
frowned upon. But yeah, there's literally an area that you have to have a certain amount of armor, certain armor, certain weapons, certain rings, certain amulet, and certain heart before you can go into this area because it's a corrupt area. You remember watching Matrix 2?
Yes.
You remember the doors? It's kind of like that. You're going to go into a world like that, but you have a time frame of how long you can be in there, and there's certain items that you have to grab from there. Um, it's it was definitely worth the play. It was
Shout out.
not worth the $60 that I paid for it because playing by yourself, shout out, is boring. It's really boring. Um, but playing with other people like me, Dan, and we found some random dude that we ended up playing with a lot. Actually made it entertaining because you could actually kill each other, which is entertaining as fuck too. Um, but each boss that you fight and in each area, and there's one main boss and like 6 sub bosses, and then there's like 4 mini bosses in each area. And they're all hard. Shout out.
Shout out.
Everyone, dude, it's literally a fight every time. And of course, they wouldn't be a boss without sending out in minions and minions upon minions, wasting your
Of
ammo.
course.
Yeah. It's one of those lovely games. Um, the replayability is there if you have friends. They have an adventure mode, which I think is really dumb because you could literally pick the world you want to go to and do what you need to, and then reset the world and do it again. It won't be the same. It won't be the same layout. It won't be the same doors. It won't be the same anything. So you could get literally could get a lot of armors, rings, and all that in one setting. But it's very time consuming and tedious, in my opinion.
Sounds like it.
I would give this game probably an 8. It was fun. It was entertaining the first time. Shout out. Um, the last boss was probably the most annoying out of everything that I played, all the other bosses, just because he transported you between worlds frequently. And it was like an open world to a little bitty living space, and then back to an open world. So you never knew what the fuck you and where the fuck you were, and doing damage was not happening. So I literally we probably fought that boss for 2 hours, literally.
God damn.
And it wasn't like, consecutive 2 hours. It was literally like we die and redo it, die, redo it. But yeah. I mean, it was fun, but they need to change some things and make it a little more entertaining for solo players.
Shut out.
Right. Definitely.